Do you think Governor Malloy is doing a good job? And Republicans have called him a job destroyer, and they've sort of made it a campaign as a good reason to vote against Democrats. So I'd like to hear you respond to those things. Do you think Malloy's doing a good job? And what are the argument that if you don't think he is, then you shouldn't be supporting Democrats like Mr. De La Cruz?
I will say that I think again, the working class Democrats that put someone like Malloy up there, you're thinking you have this Democrat in there and they're not going to run from social issues, no matter what the budget conditions are. And Malloy went straight to cutting addiction services, social services, eliminating people that I think help other people, making our most vulnerable more vulnerable. I'm not happy with what he's done there at all. I do recognize the fact that just as one of us are going to go to legislature this year with this mountain of debt that we faced, didn't start 6 years ago. I mean, these are issues that have been going on and on and on. And like I talk about taking a bite, taking a little nip. If the big salt pile down there, if you told me to move that pile, how am I going to move it? I'd have to move it one shovel at a time. That's your only choice. You're not going to move the whole thing at once. And I think he was faced with that. Again, you know, our economy hasn't been great. You know, the revenue from our gas is down. And the fact that we rely on that is funny, but that's our economy, and that's how our economy has worked in the past. So there's some things that I think they couldn't predict. They thought the economy was going to get a little bit better, and it didn't. He might have a little bit of bad luck there, but I'm mostly unhappy with the way the governor kind of ran away a little bit from us, from people, from you know, the way you cut social services. And I know times are tough, and I know I will be maybe one of those people that has to make that decision. I'm hopefully I have the gut that will keep me right where I need to be, because I know, again, any cut that was made today may end up being tenfold as a result of someone going to jail next year because they got in this addiction or something happened to them that didn't help them in a certain way. So, again, I think he's done a good enough job as he could. I think it was the same as when Obama took over the country in 07. I thought for sure me and my family would be waiting in line for bread. And if you remember, in 2007, the banks had failed. We weren't going to make cars in America anymore. Like the sky had fallen. Well, the stock market's pretty well off again now. And I'm not sure if that's a fake stock market, but we're back a little bit, and it's a little bit at a time.
I want to certainly give Representative Bumgardner a chance. No problem. So, kind of your perspective on Governor Malloy, and should people's perspective on the governor and the job he's doing or has done influence an election like this? Is that a factor you think? Should it be a factor for voters to consider?
Absolutely. Well, I think there's some fear that it could be a fear. It could be for some people, it could be a sense of joy. But the governor, a lot of people anticipate maybe if, for example, if Hillary Clinton gets elected president, that perhaps the governor will take some form of appointment with the president. So if that's the case, certainly we'll be looking at a very different picture. But as of now, we will be dealing with Governor Malloy for the next 2 years. And while I think he's been right on the ball on tackling tackling criminal justice reform with the second chance, and acknowledging the fact that we are in a fiscal crisis and that we do need to have some form of pension reform, I do think that he has been a little too late many times around. And I would hope that even if the Republicans don't win one of the chambers this year, the House or the Senate, that in the future we can elect a Republican governor that will make these necessary fiscal changes, but also recognizes that as a society, we're forward-thinking, and I think there will be candidates that emerge that fit that bill. So, personally, I do have. Governor Malloy has been a bulldog, no doubt about it, especially with a lot of his political dissidents. He at a campaign rally in New London, the mayor of New London was on record saying that the governor has little respect for the Republican representative and senator, and I saw it myself on tape. And so I don't think politics needs to stoop down to that level. And even if he did say that, and did indeed say that, I would never say such a thing about him. So I do think we are in dire need of a new governor and a new direction, but I do acknowledge that on some issues the governor has been a strong voice.
All right, with that, we, believe it or not, have to move to closing statements. And by a flip of the coin, Representative Bumgardner, you're going first, and you have a minute.